Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the Immortal Thor issue 15, 2023. That is just a beautiful looking cover showing Asgard and Thor just flying above. Really kind of cool. Ooh, and on the back, teaser for Iron Man coming up in October. Which, you would think, why the fuck would that be on there? Because Roxanne is going to be important in there, and Roxanne is very much important in here. So let's crack this off. More powerful are, in the night season, all dead warriors than in the light of day. From the second lay of Helgi Hundingside, the elder Edis of Saemund Sigfusson. So, we don't start exactly where we left off, having Thor pretty much having to wrestle with Zeus's power. We instead start off in some kind of weird spot, and we're like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? The end began in darkness, as we see someone pretty much clicking something open. And when light came, it brought no illumination, only more questions. Such is the clockwork of events. What is playing out now without your knowledge? What secret deeds in secret rooms? The wheel has turned, the wheel turns, the wheel readies to turn. Understand ye yet, or what? As we see somebody gesturing to somebody else as they're turning the wheel. We then get back to what we've been dealing with. Thor, too, was in a place of darkness, holding light without illumination. He faced the true test of Uruz now, meaning that there's the darkness in this lightning power that he must contend with. The wheel turns, and it will crush the stagnation beneath its terrible weight. He was failing, as we see his eye has that wheel, which is really fucking crazy. Love the artwork. Thor, you must hear me. You have absorbed my father's power, but also the darkness that claimed him, and that darkness will eat you alive. You must let the power go, my friend. And it's like, wow, because you're like, what do you mean that there's darkness in this power? Well, its ability to corrupt what it could do, what you would be able to do with it. Must he, Hercules? If Thor releases the power, it will return to Zeus, and then we return to where we began. Yep, so there has to be another way. Then help him, draw up the power of Zeus, take it yourself if you must. I must nothing, slayer of my children. I have all the power I need, as you yourself attested, which I kind of have to hand it to Nyx to be able to be like, I have all the power I need. Huh. I have charged my son Hypnos with matters relating to the daylight, to heroes and their squabbles. To me, Thor is a tiny lightning bug in a night the size of a universe, my night, which needs my full attention. Nyx, come back! Nyx! Thor's your friend, Herc, and Zeus is your father. Loki makes a very good point. And by any measure, this is your business, so the Night Mother isn't wrong. A curse on her, and on you, and your thrice-damned rune riddles, as Hercules is kind of done putting up with Loki's shit. Sorry for the frickin'... Does that help with the glare? A little bit, but there's still glare. You brought us to this pass, Loki. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't knock your fool head off your shoulders. Because you're wiser than that, aren't you? You've already passed the test of Uruz, brother. How would you know? We're Greek gods, Athena. These aren't our runes. This is not our magic. I am lost in this. I don't even know what Uruz means. Endurance, but what kind? What does it relate to? Uruz representing the Aurochs. Like, mighty, like, cows. Adambula's children, the wild cattle, primal beasts that gave milk and life, yet raged and ran and brought death in a stampede of hooves, the balancing of life and death. Now they are gone from the earth because of mortals, and as the skald spoke, the All-Father heard, I, the old beast, died, victims of the turning wheel, or were tamed. All things must perish, all must face death and the end. Be silent. Even gods must bow to fate, and fate bows to me, for the wheel of fate is in my hand. In my hand. As we see Thor finally wrestling with it, and understanding trying to tame it, even though it is a wild force. And of course that whole thing of fate. I know what I must do. And that's really kind of cool seeing him reach out of the panel like that. This is a really cool 2-page here, as we get a full one pretty much here, and the kind of progression of the panels here. Call down the lightning, call down fate, call down everything I have been made heir to. The hand of Thor is upon it all, and I have the power to carve my image into the burning stars themselves, which is gnarly. Thor, but it is the power that speaks thus, not I. Very good, Thor. The power of Zeus that cannot be fought. Yet did not Zeus contain the power in his hand as a golden thunderbolt? And did my own father not cast vast powers and matter in ages past? And then he learns. He's like, we shall change this up here. I will not be tamed, yet I must try. I must use Zeus's power against itself to force it to my pattern, a pattern I know well. The energies writhed in Thor's grip and in his mind, yet he worked them to his will, into the shape he associated with his strongest self, and thus was born the golden belt Yolgord. And we see the belt, it's like, oh, that's cool. And it's like, yes. Ooh, and then we get a teaser for Amazing Spider-Man 59. The most brutal fight in comics history is in. So I'll have to see how that kind of goes. Yolgjord, the Enduring One. Yolgjord, the Protector. Yolgjord, second of 3. Would you know more? More will be told. 'Tis done. Thor. And we get that really kind of cool superhero pose. However, we get some changes here, which are like, okay. I've used the power of Zeus to cage the power of Zeus in matter, and in one particular purpose. In answer to the riddle of Uruz, the answer to all thy riddles. 'Tis a girdle of endurance against dark power. And what is the darkest power I've faced of late? Magic. Rune magic, scald magic, your magic, Loki. But you hold no power over me now. And it's like, ooh, we'll have to see if that actually works out that way. And I have power over you. You who, as a test, nearly made me twice the monster Zeus has become. I swore to trust you, Loki, even as my enemy. Yet only as my enemy, more and more, thy schemes endanger others, and that I cannot allow. The All-Father must think of all. It's like, ooh, what's he gonna do? Then think on your next edict most carefully, All-Father. Speak not in haste nor anger. There may be consequences. But the words fell on deaf ears. Thor was resolute, though it pained him greatly, and though it would cost him dear. And then we see the charging of pretty much the all-power. I am decided. If Asgard needs a skald, it must look elsewhere. By the all-power and by my will, I banish thee from the golden realm and from my sight. That's big, and I really like how it kind of showcases him just utilizing that power to banish Loki. The words were indeed spoken in haste, yet the Odin force was upon them and in them. Loki was now gone from Asgard and from Thor. We'll have to see how that works out. As the smoke cleared, Thor felt a chill run through him, akin to the first touch of a cold winter. But he heeded it not, for Loki had done too much to forgive in a short time, and Thor believed he had a long one. Come, my friends, let us journey home. It's like, we will have to see how that banishment works out, if it will screw Thor over or not. Then we get another one similar, but yet not as big as that other page where he started casting the power into the belt. Never did Asgard look more glorious than when Thor arrived at the end of the Rainbow Bridge. The belt, Yolgjord, was indeed proof against Loki's rune magic, Loki's runecraft, and it seemed to Thor that it might provide the solution to other troubles besides. Still, he was wary. At his back, that winter's wind blew still. 'Tis well that you have returned, All-Father. The situation requires thy attention. And I am at Asgard's service, Lady Sif. But first my guests have need of their own, as we see Athena, Zeus, Hypnos, Herc. Hypnos will need lodgings, Athena too, perhaps, and the Skyfather Zeus will need the care of our physicians. I was forced to strip him of his power, and cast that power in a new shape. I noticed the bright new belt, and thy caution of it. As ever, you seem much. Yolgjord is a belt of protection, yet it protects the most against itself. I must treat it with care. But enough of my troubles. What need has the realm of me? And Asgardian has returned to us from far lands, and requests an audience with thee in thine own hall. Intriguing, should I come along? Thy help is ever appreciated, my friend. But for now, see to thy family. This will likely be some dry matter of diplomacy. Wait, which Asgardian? It's like, shit. It's like, cool. It's like Thor isn't completely turning down Herc. It's like, I know you've got more important stuff to deal with right now. Enchantress. Hello, Thor. Nice place you have here. As we then see Thor's place, and we see the axe on the wall. It's like, interesting. And some weird glowing purple thing. It's like, what the fuck? but it's kind of cool. It's like, alright, it's cool to see Thor's place. What business have you here? I wanted a closer look at your axe. The workmanship of the blade is very fine. I didn't get the chance to properly admire it when it was buried in Dario Augur's back. You let her in? You left no instruction not to. I know you two are fighting, as you do, but Amora is as much of Asgard as any of us. The question of who belongs in the Golden Realm is not decided by your personal feelings, or is it? And that is a very, very good point, Sif. However, the banishment of Loki kind of makes sense because of them putting other people, in harm's way. Though, as enemy Skald, Loki has been very particular on how they include certain people and exclude other people. You see much, Sif, but we will speak on such matters at another time, as you wish. Amora, you are dear to my brother, and you have done great deeds for Asgard in times gone by, but the benefit of the doubt only goes so far. Know that I am watching. She's been very generous. I didn't think she'd forgiven me for all those mean things I said about Bill. How are she and Bill? I heard rumors of a rough patch. Are they still together? Amora, it's like, I would like to know too, because that is an interesting pairing. Because you and her are still very much apart, aren't you? You and everyone are very much. Amora, enough. I am too tired for such games, and the all sleep is in my bones after hard battles and harsh choices, and I would be alone with it. Just tell me what you want. It's like, ooh, yeah, he's a little bit grumpy, because he's had to use the all-power to banish Loki. I thought Scourge explained it quite well, so you've come to plead his case. Tell me to give him my hammer and my axe and this belt, so he can save me from some coming danger, as if my own death is not mine to carry. Like Odin meddling from Valhalla as if I am still a child. Like Loki herding me through riddles like a mouse in a maze. Even my mother had a destiny in mind for me before I was even born. I am so tired of others trying to decide my fate. Understand that, though. It's like, oh, God. And I give you my word that out of everyone who cares for you, and I still do, Thor, I will never try to save you from danger. It's like, God damn it, Amora. But I really like how it goes down to showing Amora doing that and everything. It's like, oh, God. Well, do I know it. But is that a dance we two should do again? Well, we do know all the steps by heart. Ha! Be careful, Amora. Sif may burst in sword ready to save me from thy ensorcelled kiss. What kiss? And then they kiss. It's like, oh, shit. Feeling ensorcelled? Nay. Foiled again. So, here we are. Will you say it, or shall I? 'Tis not a good idea. 'Tis not a good idea, now especially. But wouldn't it be nice if it were? It's like, interesting. Granted, since Thor's a god, normally him having his relationships and everything, even in the comics, is like, okay, we'll kind of see how it goes. Never really seen one where it kind of sticks more permanently or whatnot. Like you'd have one that's like, oh god, Pete and MJ. You know what I mean? Him and Amora, interesting. I've always seen him more with Jane, but they've been doing such different kind of things with Jane that she's become more of her own character, and same with Thor. Now, granted, they'll always be inextricably linked, but I would be okay with this if she's not trying to, you know, pretty much use Skald magic to kind of like fuck Thor over. It's like, alright. So, many things could be better than they are. In other worlds, who knows what may be. But this is the world where you have framed me on Midgard, my second home for murder most foul. You must admit that was very neat, and now I hold the leash of Roxxon, thy great enemy. 'Tis a monster with a monstrous appetite, one I fear I have not the heart to deny. Who knows which fellow Avengers have already caught its hungry eye? Kind of teasing us of what's kind of be coming on with Tony. Though granted, Roxxon's been trying to go pretty much after everybody, so it would be interesting for a lot of them to unite and kind of fuck with it. None that cannot pluck it out. Still, making strife for friends and family is a thing I look sternly upon of late. This very day I banished Loki for such mischief, and though that deed already troubles me, the deed is done. Then be consistent, Allfather, banish me likewise, or imprison me and end my schemes that way. Why ever would you not? Would that not be just, Thor? Would it be? Why did you help Scourge, Amora? And it's important because there are at other times Thor would have done as she had said, probably acted like Odin would have. However, Thor is trying to find out what is going on here. Because sometimes people do stupid fucking things to get attention, like frame someone for murder, to get them to take them seriously. It's not right, but we'll have to see what's going on here. I know why he did what he did. He died for me, and now he fears that death was in vain. He has done me great wrong, but only because he wants to save me like everyone else, which is an interesting conflict to have. You say you do not, and I believe you, yet Scourge's actions followed your plan, so why that plan? You say you care for me, and I do believe that as well, but there are those who you care for more. It's like, I like Thor working this out. And so we behold the elephant in the room. Because of me, your beloved mortals call you murderer. I use scald magic to muddy your mind and your myth. I should now be in irons, and yet you are so willing to forgive and forget that we practically rekindle a romance. What do you wish forgiven and forgotten, Thor? What wrong have you done me? Will you say it first, or shall I? Eirik, your son. As we then see a little bit here of her son dying. He was of Asgard. He was my subject. And when he faced his end, his Allfather was not there. Strange Academy Finals tells the tale. It's interesting to learn that. There are those who would deny my responsibility in that. Those who do not see a measure of blood on my hands. I am not one of them. So, Amora could have just kind of come and talked. And now Midgard sees the stain too. Though I could show the mortals how mistaken they are. As you could help me restore my son to life. Would that I could, Enchantress, but even blackmail cannot make me. I will not deny good Eirik his just reward for death in battle. Many have earned Valhalla, thy son has. So I must do more to convince you? Duly noted, Thor. That's not good. But Thor makes this pretty compelling case, too. Have we not already done enough to one another, Amora? Can we not leave things as they stand? Would you, if it was your child? I will do what I must. But I do care for you, Thor. This was never about revenge. As she puts her hand on his shoulder, but he then removes it. Not for you or I, perhaps, but you say that you hold Roxanne's leash, yet will not control its hunger. Be very sure, then, that Roxanne does not look hungrily upon thee. And then we get to what we had seen in the beginning of the comic. Process complete at 0017 hours. 1 casualty. Reviving subject now, as we pretty much see that dead dude. Dr. Lamar, did it work? The replacement body gestated without a hitch, sir. Aside from the unpleasantness the original endured, it's an exact match. The suit is a Van Dyne original, translocated in from Paris. Van Dyne original. And the software that goes with the hardware, I'd rather not be some grubby clone. You're you, sir. The blood sacrifice was made and accepted. Despite political upheavals in the infernal realms, your contract remains as agreed, a soul for a soul. It's like, so he's got deals with like Mephisto or some other kind of devil? A soul for a soul, how egalitarian. All souls are equal in the eyes of hell. I doubt that very much. But here on Earth, some are more equal than others, asshole. And in that spirit, an example should be set. The gods killed Dario Augur, so I think it's only fair that Dario Augur kills the gods, don't you? And so the end began, and Thor's doom was assured, as we see Dario looking back in his human form with his red eyes. It's like, no, turn to the king. And then we got, if they be worthy. Here we go, linking up to the next issue. A blast from the past. In Asgard, Thor weighed his obligations as Allfather and as Gaia's child, and what he owed to both sides of his nature. While on Earth, a risen evil sought new gods to challenge the old, and found them in Thor's earliest foes. This is the story of the Immortal Thor and the Radioactive Man. That's not good. He's putting together a god kill squad. So, I really enjoyed this. I liked the tease in the beginning of seeing what was kind of going on in this weird kind of shady place, and then figuring out that Dario has plans in place should anyone kill his ass. And I don't think of that as a cheap cop-out or anything. It still gives Thor the conflict of Amora doing her scald magic, making it look like Thor's killed someone, and everything like that, while getting Dario back into play and being like, you motherfuckers, and of anybody to have a, like, hell contract, soul for soul exchange to kind of get back to life, Dario Augur would have it. So, out of any kind of comic book thing, I'm like, the fucker came back. This makes sense character-wise, plot-wise, and every kind of wise that kind of happens. Seeing Thor then deal and wrestle and try and figure out the whole kind of riddle of trying to utilize Zeus's power and turning it into a belt was really kind of cool. I'm like, okay, figuring out, seeing his thought process, what he was trying to do, and changing it into matter and the belt to protect him from magic was really kind of a good thing that he was able to think of in time, especially since magic had been utilized against him so frequently in this arc. And I did like her try to like get Nyx to do something, and Nyx is like, no, man, why would I fucking do this? And then fuck off. And then Thor, being done with his riddle, was like, you have now involved other people. Was it in haste? Probably. Should he have... He still has one more rune riddle test to get through before he has all 3 of his like name runes done, so that way he's ready for what's coming next, probably. But it's important that he utilize the all power to banish Loki, and we'll have to see what happens with that, what the consequences and ramifications are going to be done, because I think that Loki knew that something like this could probably happen to them. So we'll have to see how their plans kind of shake out and what they attempt to do to Thor and any other kind of other people. When also, since they're the Skald, we'll have to see any kind of new Skald put into place or whatnot. And I did like Thor and Gamora having their kind of conversation, and it felt nice and organic. Them being 2 gods, they have a long history. Also, it was nice to have Thor to bring the Greek pantheon that were still around and have them stay at Asgard, and Sif kind of like bringing them up to speed. I did like the drop of Sif and Bill. We'll have to see if we get any on that kind of front at some point. But like, it felt organic having Gamora and Thor kind of go through their history up to the point that Gamora's son Eirik died in Strange Academy, which I didn't know, and I think was handled very well here. And she's like, I gotta do more to do this. But the thing is, she's arguing against Thor, who's a warrior, who's been brought up in that same kind of tradition as Odin. Why would he take Valhalla from Eirik? Because that's an important thing within Norse mythology, and also important to Thor and everything. He sees it as a just reward to Eirik, not something to be taken away, though Amor would rather have her son alive, which I totally get on that. A warrior's heaven is of a cold comfort to a grieving mother like that. Though granted, Amor is not really grieving that much. She doesn't really seem... It's just mainly her objective at this point. Like, we don't see her complete love for her son, but we'll see what kind of goes on with this. She'll continue on this path. Scourge, trying to make sure that his death is not in vain and trying to take this death fate from Thor, is intriguing, but he could be going about it in different kind of ways. So we'll have to see if Gamora and Scourge's goals still align, or if there's other kind of ways to kind of change it up and see what kind of goes on and happens with that. So there's a lot of interesting things going on. Of course, Dario kind of moving us into the next kind of realm and arc, gathering his god squad to go after the gods. Mainly probably going to be going after Gamora and Scourge. But they'll, of course, clash with Thor as well, because they're Asgardians. They're people that he would have to deal with this stuff. So we'll have to see how that kind of works out. And it'll be interesting to see when Iron Man pops back up, if these kind of fights with Roxanne are going to kind of converge, and if we'll see any kind of team-ups with Thor and Iron Man dealing with this whole kind of situation going forward. Though I'm fine if nothing like that happens. I still want to see how this is going on with Thor, and I really love how Ewing has been doing this, and I've been loving the art as well. It's even though it's a new artist that we've done, it just fits very well with what we've gotten, and it just sets the quality at that high bit, and I just love what we're able to get with the colors and the expressiveness of the faces and everything that we've seen throughout this. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.